Right, I'm going to go in on this one. I'm going to go from a different angle because people are saying, well, the referee should have done this and they should do this and players should be banned for longer. You're a player, right?
I am. Loosely.
Why would a professional rugby league player use a tackling technique which they know is dangerous, which they know can cause serious injury? Why would they do that to a fellow professional?
I'll have a biscuit while you think about
that. So, scenario. I am on my line. We're in a very tight match. They've got the ball 5 metres out. I'm going to stop the ball at all costs. And now I don't mean it's going to be... I'm not going to actively go, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to absolutely nail this person and hurt them. What my job is to stop that try. And, things go wrong, and we saw it at the start of the season. We've seen it, when Warrington came to Headingley. Things happen. But I don't think anybody intentionally goes out.
I'm not saying anyone has intentionally gone out,
No,
but if you go in with that technique, and we're talking about the Ben Flower incident because it's all been all over social media. Sky tweeted it out yesterday, helpfully. So
and he's been banned, so
he's been banned for 2 games or
something.
something. And it should be longer because, whatever anyway. But why would you do that? There's only 2 people in the tackle. He comes in as the third man, when the tackle's already complete.
Which happens a lot, and players go for the ankle.
It's a timing thing, isn't it? Because he's made that decision to come in, and that might have not been complete at the moment he made that decision to come in. And he's come in and is committed, and it's very hard to stop yourself when you've set off and you're committed to something, to then readjust quickly. And I'm sure in training, I don't play at half level that they do, but you'll get one in that does one job, you get the second one in, third one in if that's not going down, to get them to the floor. Your job is to get that player to the floor and win the floor. So how are you going to do it? Yeah, and it's a judgment, isn't it, that you make as a player there and then, because nobody's going to say, we won't be stood there in the line and I'll go, Phil, in you go. If you're not moving and I see something, I'm going to go. I'm not going to. There might be.
I won't be moving. Though.
I mean, obviously, greatest front row ever here. But
I still won't be moving.
I got your back. It's fine because I'll be flying across, being that third man, making a bad judgment call.
I understand everything you've said about the heat of the battle and the decisions that you make. I just wonder whether there's something wider afoot here. That it's very rare that 2 players are up for the same offence from the same club, and that, again, somebody tweeted some footage that's not evidence, that there was a third player involved in a very similar incident wearing the same colours in the same game, and that it's a... Does it become a ploy then? I mean, I am absolutely 100% sure that Adrian Lamb will not be saying, I want you to go in and hurt the opposition. But something is clearly wrong in the defensive decisions of how a team are going to defend. If a third man in is told to attack the lower limbs of somebody who is still standing.
But isn't that's what the third man's for?
But if you do it at a level around about the knees, it's incredibly dangerous.
But
if you do it around the ankles...
But you'd never go for the ankle. So
or
if
calves.
But if there were 2 men in the tackle, and we were front on, and I saw you an open side, and the only bit I could get to from your hips below, I'd probably aim. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm too big and I'm really rubbish at tackling. To go.
No, that tackle where you pushed him over.
That's all. That was third man in. I would aim to go mid thigh.
Yeah.
The whole technique, but in that instance, you're going down. So these guys are not small, so they're gonna have to go down low. You can't go. Wait, am I at the right height to make this safe? And it would be. They'll call it in training. Chop his legs, and that'll be a phrase that many people in rugby league have heard. Just chop his legs. How are you gonna chop some of his legs? You need to get them tight, squeeze.
But if...
I'm not justifying this by any way.
If they do...
No. I think it's important we get your perspective because you are out there, as you say, there's a difference between the men supling and women supling, whatever. But your thought process is interesting in this case.
But I'm in the women's game, very difficult to tackle and get down. And the amount of times people and especially since coming back from ACL, I've gone to get a knee, and I'm like, why would you want to do that?
That's what I don't understand is the fact that.
But I don't think they mean get my knee
No.
that has come back because
But-
it's stronger than ever. Whatever. I think if you hit me at my knees, I'm going to automatically have that jerk reaction. I'm
Yeah,
going to
but
go
we
down.
used to have something called a chicken wing tackle, and that was ruled out of the game.
What's a chicken wing tackle?
Shoulder, attacking the shoulder joint.
Ooh, nasty.
And I just think whether the timing is intentional or otherwise, whether the target is intentional or otherwise, what has happened is Hull KR have lost 2 players through injuries to knees that looked like not only were they avoidable,
Yeah.
but also have been deemed by the match review panel to be foul play.
Yeah.
So at that point, intention of the player, I don't think is an issue. It's how do we eradicate this? Because unfortunately for Hull KR, they've come really close in a game that we all thought they probably will be overwhelmed. But one of the reasons is they've lost players during the game. The other thing is they may now have lost these players for a longer length of time. And the Wigan players who've committed the incidents may well, one is banned, another is going to get a ban. But that's not going to help Hull KR. So how do you eradicate people doing that? You give them long bans. Is 2 games
No,
enough?
but it's like saying, so like Ben Masilla the other day on Mella was awful. The forearm to the face.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, so we've
I
stopped
thought that was handled brilliant though.
No, yeah, but
because Mella was clearly slipping.
Yeah.
And
no, but I'm saying, just in the grand scheme, like, had Mella not slipped and Ben gone up there like that, and Ben not stopped and genuinely being sorry for it afterwards, and most players wouldn't have done what he did, whether intentional or not. They wouldn't have hung around and been like, they would have stepped away. So probably would have not looked as innocent as Ben did. I mean, it was completely innocent. I know, and we're trying to stop this whole high tackle, you know, but there are occasions where things happen and it looks
Yes.
terrible. So how do you, apart from saying you're only now allowed to tackle between the hips and the chest?
I think that the Murdoch Masilla thing was handled brilliantly. Through a limited fault of his own, he couldn't stop his
but
actions.
that was only handled brilliantly because of his reaction and the
Yeah.
fact that Mella slipped.
And the referee soon binned him.
Yeah.
In these occasions, the referee didn't. It's been referred to the match review panel. The match review panel has 2 incidents from the same club for the same offence. Now, I'm not pointing the finger at that club, but to stop that becoming an epidemic and other clubs saying, well, you know, it looks as though not going to be heavily punished, we need to get it out of the game.
But then that depends on the side that the refs are at.
Yeah,
how
yeah.
often he uses
Yeah.
his touch. You know, again,
Yeah.
come back to the whole 2 refs on the pitch. I don't like it. I don't know if it works or not, but obviously clearly the NRL is much better at penalising and calling things out.
Communication seems.
Yeah. And I don't think the communication between the refs and the touches, unless it's on an edge or a try or anything, nothing in the middle of the pitch. And you forget that they have that side angle, whereas the referee has a skewed front angle that sometimes can't see the other side of the ruck.
But Oliver Partington's potentially got a 5-match ban. It's been referred, it's a grade D. It may only be 2, but potentially it's 5.
But then is that not the ban you're looking for?
Then why has Ben Flower got 2? Why is one we need to refer to the disciplinary and the other is we've graded it such that we can give him a 2-match ban? Is there a lack of consistency?
Should
in-
tweet Rodstad.
Well, apparently he's got it.
Has he?
Somebody has.
Good.
But I think like with the going back, there is a similarity with the Ian Watson thing here. That what sort of message does the game want to send out? So Ian might be the unfortunate victim of he was the guy at the time that was the straw that broke the camel's back about referees. So the punishment he gets is more to the very maximum rather than the lenient because the game is trying to make a statement about referees and somebody has to pay a price for that. Gone on too long, we're not going to allow it anymore. That's our line in the sand. Unfortunately, Ian was stood on the line when we drew it. He's got the 3-match ban and the heavy fine. Do we now need to be doing this with the reoccurrence of what used to be termed the cannonball tackle? Do we now need to say, right guys, it's not 2 matches for you and potentially 5. It's a similar offence. It's an offence that we don't want Player welfare is really important. I'm sorry, but if this is creeping back into the game, if there's a team that needs to go and look at its tackling technique in training, it's going to have to do it without 2 players for 8 matches.
But then do you just say to that specific team, look, you've got X amount of, cautions or fines or match bans for this. We're looking at you specifically, because other people tend to not have that, and therefore, for us at the minute, it's not a league-wide problem. It's a specific club problem, which then I think is more of a tackle technique training situation rather than a generalised problem.
But the best way of getting the message over is for them to be without 2 of their star names for a period of time that is going to be.
But then is it not a club
fact.
caution in the sense that if this continues to happen from your players, we are going to deem the coaching staff responsible for this?
Well, that
Therefore,
would
as
be,
a club,
that
because
would
you
be
can't
fine.
penalise a coaching staff. We can, but do you know what I mean? Like,
But that hasn't been said.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I think that would be the whole the way to begin it. Like, I'm not anywhere high up. That's just my opinion, but
It seems lenient to me. But I'm sure Rod will get us the reasons why.
We'll find out, won't we?